Hey, it's Bahamas, and you're listening to the Leake in Review.
Now forget everything that you thought you knew from the shed of dreams, the Leake in Review.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Thanks for all the likes, the love. Thanks for checking in on all the socials and sharing. It's really making a big difference over here. You're going to like today's program. You maybe don't know the music of Bahamas. Maybe you're a super long time fan of Bahamas. You're going to be checking out the new album from Bahamas after this program. I can guarantee it. And you're probably going to share this episode because just hearing how chill Afie Jurvanen of Bahamas is, I don't know, it kind of like energizes you. You'll know what I mean in just a little bit. The new album, my second last album, available now. Tour dates coming. Get ready for it.
Where there's a heartbeat and a stage, there's an artist set to perform. This is the Leake in Review on tour.
On Tour, brought to you by the Pecan Agency, connecting fans with bands worldwide. Foo Fighters just made the announcement, full-on stadium tour, all set to start August 4 in Toronto, 2026. Dates in Detroit, Chicago, Philly, Washington, Atlanta. Right now, there are only 13 dates for this Foo Fighters tour. By the way, Queens of the Stone Age opening for most of the dates, with Gouge Away and Mannequin Pussy being available for a few spots. But here's what I'm saying. Of the 13 dates that have been listed right now, I guarantee they will be adding on more dates. Look for places like Toronto, Vegas, Denver. All these spots are going to be doubling up on shows. So again, the stadium tour starts with the Foo Fighters, August 4 in Toronto. Coming up, Afie Jurvanen of Bahamas.
Hi, my name is Kim Stockwood. I am a proud Newfoundlander and a Canadian singer-songwriter. In a landscape where many lack access to health benefits or employee assistance programs, the Unison Fund serves as a lifeline of hope for musicians and music industry professionals facing medical emergencies or mental health challenges. To learn more about Unison and their programs, please visit unisonfund.ca.
Hey, it's Bahamas, and you're listening to the Leake in Review. Hey, 1, 2. Josh Donaldson on the mount.
Do you
Jays are 2-1 in this series.
Do you watch the Blue Jays?
No. My wife and I, we had like season tickets like eons ago when nobody cared.
Probably back when you lived in the Toronto area.
Yeah, we lived in Toronto, but I'm saying we had tickets where like they were so cheap that we would just go for 4 or 5 innings, like have a beer, have a hot dog. Place was totally empty. You know, it was just something to do basically.
Right.
Go for a walk and go there for a bit and then walk home. And can't imagine that now. No. Yeah.
I think the beer, just 2 beers alone are the price of what those seasons tickets used to cost.
Exactly.
Like,
I think you're probably pretty close on that.
Afie is back with new music. Bahamas is back with music. Afie is Bahamas, if we want to go down that road.
We've been trying to figure this out for 20 years almost, you know?
My second last album.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I read the title of that, I said, Afie is screwing with people.
That's true.
Like, there will be the second last album and then another album that will be totally unrelated title-wise. And your last album will just come when it comes, but it might be 6 albums from now. Am I correct?
I think you're correct. I think, originally I wrote my second best album. And then I crossed that out and I wrote last album. I was kind of like, I was interested in this idea of like, what's the best album, you know? Because for me, the one that's the best is always the one that I'm working on. You know, it's just because I'm always in the pursuit of something new. I'm not very good at like looking backward and being nostalgic or anything, but so then anyway, I crossed that out and I wrote second last album, and it just feels like I'm sort of getting toward the end of some sort of chapter. And I don't want to make it sound bigger than it is. It's more just like the things that I'm doing now as Bahamas feel so far from what I started doing in 2007 or 2008 or whenever, you know, the thing kind of took shape.
That's what you're supposed to do
Yeah.
as an artist.
Yeah. But even the name Bahamas, like I put zero effort into choosing that. Like I would much rather just be Afie. And I've tried to do that over the years by calling my album Bahamas is Afie. And people are like, Alfie, why'd you call your album Bahamas is Afie? You know what I mean? It's just like, I had songs and I was going to play a show at some bar on Dundas Street. And someone's like, what do you want me to write on the chalkboard? And I was like, I don't know, Bahamas, you know?
Yeah, that's how it all came together.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's sort of like at some point it just starts to feel a little bit, you know, it's taken on a life of its own. It's just become something, obviously. I don't want to like make it sound bigger than it is, but you know, it's become my career and it's become a whole thing, you know? And it just feels like, okay, we're on album 7 and you know, I mean, I'm biased, but I think there's 7 pretty good albums and they've all done pretty well for me and allowed me to travel all around the world. And I'm nothing but grateful. But now I have all these other things, including a family, and I have all these other passions in my life that I'd like to, you know, explore, and I'd like to develop some proficiency at some other things too, you know? So it's nice to be able to be in a position to dedicate more time towards those things. And maybe those are less visible than what I've done with my music.
It's funny you say like you didn't put much effort into naming Bahamas, but yet it's, to me, all these albums now, it's perfect. Because when I think of the country, your music fits perfectly. It's just a vibe. It's, hey, everything's good. Everything's chill. This is what Bahamas is.
You know what? I've heard that. I've never been there. Can you believe that?
You should be able to go like for free, like all expenses paid.
Should
no
have
taxes.
like sort of tax. I should have some tax exempt status or something. By this
I think
point.
you could have a ship registered in the Bahamas.
Every once in a while, I get like
money.
actual hate mail. Maybe I get more of it, and Robbie just doesn't forward it to me or something.
Your manager.
Like, yeah, I get like people are upset, like you don't represent the islands, man. I'm like, I never claim, like, you know, does Boston, the band, represent Boston and you have to like do everything the way the people of Boston do it? Or no, I don't think so. I mean, maybe they do, or does Asia, the band Asia, do they represent Asia? Like, I don't think so, but
anyway, that's the beauty of being popular.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of being worldwide,
mm-hmm.
where a lot of people out there today, struggling artists, would love to be in a position of hate mail.
I don't know if you've ever been on the internet, but
it's a nasty
seems
place.
to be a great vehicle for both sending and receiving this hatred of a level that you can't even imagine. It's just like great. It's a great vehicle for that. So I try to stay away from that as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, I can't believe that I get to do what I do. I'm in awe of the fact that I get to get up in the morning and I get to, you know, write songs and make music and hang out with musicians. Like hanging out with musicians is like my favorite, with respect to broadcasters and journalists and everything. Hanging out with musicians is like the most fun thing. And they're some of the funniest people that I know and just smartest. And anytime I get a chance to just be in a room with other musicians, whether it's recording or just on tour or whatever, that's like the pinch me moment every time, you know.
And you had a lot of co-writing this time around on this new release with Josh. He's working on the instrumentation.
Yeah, well, he definitely, like, you know, I give him full credit in terms of producing the record. He'd probably give me credit for it, but we put his name on there anyway. But anyway, he's a phenomenal producer and engineer and musician. I mean, I definitely came into the studio with the songs written and we built up the tracks, just the two of us. And that was sort of a fortuitous thing where he ended up moving back to Nova Scotia during the pandemic, and he built a studio that was half an hour from my cottage. So we had this very relaxed, like I would go over there and we'd work for the day and, you know, I'd go back to the cottage. And it was just like, I think because I recorded most of this right after I made Bootcut, which was in Nashville in a commercial studio with like great musicians and everything. Like,
legends.
Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. And then when I came home, I still wanted to record. And except the only difference is that we just did it in this very sort of like home studio, relaxed environment. And I think it shows in the recording. But I can't say enough good things about Josh. He's a phenomenal musician and just a great guy. And he comes on tour with me a fair bit now. And yeah, the only co-write that I did for this was this one song called The Bridge. And that was a song. Single. Yeah, we wrote that song. I wrote that over text message with a guy named MC Taylor, who has a band called His Golden Messenger, and he's just an amazing writer. I'm really just a big fan of the band and his writing. And so we started texting back and forth, and he sent me this little idea, and I would work on it and send him back, and it was the first and only time I've ever done something like that, and it turned out pretty cool.
I heard that you had tried, being a songwriter for other artists. And it's maybe a little bit more difficult for you, putting yourself in maybe their shoes. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I love the idea of doing that. I hope to get more opportunities to do that. It's more just like there's a whole ecosystem in Nashville of that. I don't know what would be the most flattering way to describe it. But it's like a song mill. It's basically they are there every day, working day in, day out, trying to write tunes. And yeah, the most generous version is they're trying to write really good quality songs. And then there's probably the other side of it where they're just trying to, write trendy songs that are maybe produce a big hit of the moment or whatever.
Write a song that sounds like the one that is currently number one.
Yeah. And that is a skill that I don't have. I'm not very good at that, but I'd like to be, it'd be nice to have more than 4 Porsches that I currently have, But
Afie needs a bigger boat.
You know what I mean? It's hard to get by with only 6 mansions. But anyway, yeah, I have had the chance to go down to Nashville and work with other writers and stuff, and I enjoy the process. But I think it's a separate skill, and I think I have a lot of respect for the people that's what they do, and they are there, and they're. It's a different way of collaborating, and it really is. It requires such a level of leaving your ego at the door. It's just they're throwing out the craziest ideas. I wouldn't have the confidence to deliver that many bad ideas, but they need to do that in order to get to the good ones. And I relate to that, and I respect that, but I just do that in private. I have so many terrible songs that you're never going to hear.
There's a whiteboard out there.
Yes.
Of Bahamas disasters.
Oh my God. There's so many. It's unbelievable.
Okay.
But I just I'm not Neil Young. You're not going to get a rarities box set at some point with here's all this tracks that never came out. And it's not going to happen because the quality's not there.
Neil Young told me that he walks his dogs and thinks of a song, a medley guitar riff, and he hums it into his phone.
Right.
What do you do?
I do something very similar. I mean, I don't have a dog, but I manage to walk just the same. And in fact, walking is something that I'm just obsessed with. I think there's a reason why all those Greek guys in the togas, when they invented math and music, and they invented so many things, philosophy, they were walking around in circles in those togas, and the brain starts to
free itself.
Exactly, things start happening, and so I definitely connect with that. And I've written a lot of songs when I'm moving, something about just ambling along, a little bit of movement, and that just really turns it on for me. So I don't really get it if I'm doing vigorous exercise. It's hard to stay as connected to a musical idea for me. So yeah, walking is kind of the perfect thing. And also, I remember when I was a kid and I'd be with my mother at someone's house for dinner, and they'd be like, "We're going to go out for a walk after dinner." And you could just never understand why. Right. Why would we go walk anywhere? Why would we do that? Let's just go back to watching TV or doing whatever we're doing, And now I'm at an age where it's all I want to do. This is our last interview of the day. Probably going to walk home after this.
Is that something that you're teaching your kids?
Yes. I mean, I know I'm joking about it, but yeah, we homeschool our kids. So we're together all the time. And so yeah, they complain about the walking, but we do a lot of it. We call it hiking now.
Okay.
And that seems to just soften the blow a little bit.
Gives it a little more edge.
It's basically just walking in a beautiful place. With respect to downtown Toronto, it's essentially walking, but there's more trees and maybe some water or something.
Different vibe.
Yeah, and you get to spend a little bit of money on fancy shoes or Gore-Tex products, things like that.
So you're homeschooling children, and yet you didn't graduate from school.
Can you believe it?
I think
I'm
it's
mostly involved. My main job is phys ed, and
Okay.
you
Well,
know,
that's good. I think that's extremely important.
maybe a little bit of like entertainment industry wisdom, if I have any to impart to them. I'm happy to do that. But
You're maybe
no, my
covering
wife does.
recess.
What's that?
You're covering recess.
Recess. I'm very good at recess. I was very good at that. Yeah. Yeah. My academic career, as you know, less than stellar, but I think it's interesting now because there's such a recognition now that there's so many different ways to learn.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally recognized.
Yeah. And I think like when I was in school, like there was literally, it was standard and then there was basic, or maybe it was sort of general, basic, and then there was advanced. And just in the naming of it alone, there's such a class thing to it. And, you know, and sort of it can feel like a put down to be in general or a, you know, a worst basic. Ironically, all the guys that were in basic that, you know, learned how to do stuff,
Sure.
they're all, you know, they're doing pretty well and they have plumbing companies and, you know, they turned out to be electrical engineers and stuff like that.
I can speak to that with my neighborhood. They're all, you know, very, they all do very, very well in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
All the big degrees and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Between 5 of my neighbors, I don't think one has a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And when they see somebody, when they need something done,
Mm-hmm.
they are at such a loss and it's a stressful moment. But what I'm saying is they've come to appreciate that side, that discipline where people know how to fix things
Oh,
to where you're saying the shop class kids, you would maybe mock, but yet they're the ones who today have way more ability
yeah.
and can be way more engaged for that.
Well,
much
I don't
longer.
think that's happening anymore. And I guess I think that is a good thing. And I think there's just so much irony when I look back on that part of my own life. Like I love reading and I love anybody that's passionate about it. Like if you're into volleyball and I will listen to you for an hour and just go deep on volleyball. I don't know anything about volleyball, but if you care about it, I can get on board. And sometimes you have a teacher who cares so deeply about a subject that you can, you know, I remember I was so into geography and it was all a credit to this teacher because they were just so passionate about it, you know? And it turns out geography kind of matters a lot to me because I travel all over the world.
You understand geography.
Yeah.
And appreciate it.
I think about that class often, you know? But yeah, I think for me, I learn best through osmosis, just being around people and trying to pick up things from them. And if they're passionate about what they're doing, then it makes it that much easier. But yeah.
So you're not with the family then when you're in Nashville and you're doing a writing or you're in New York doing promo or something like that. When you're done that job for the day, do you then make sure you go out and explore the city and explore the town so you could be around those people
Mhm.
to absorb? Or is it back to the hotel and
There's
just look around?
no. The walking is everything. You know what I mean? Like next week or the week after, I'm going to Europe for 3 weeks. It's like you can't ask for a better place to walk around. You know what I mean? Walking around Munich, walking around Manchester, just beautiful old European towns. Like that's all I do is just walk around.
And just explore the culture.
Yeah, exactly. I do the same thing here in Toronto too. But yeah, I don't know. You try like it's such what a gift, what a blessing it is to be able to travel around and get to experience other cultures and other foods and just see the way other people do it, you know?
So you record Bootcut during the pandemic, which was a brilliant album. Still, the concept, the sounds, everything that you did with it is, I love.
Oh, thanks
and
so much.
I speak so highly of it to people. Like, if Afie can do this, you could probably do something half as good. You know,
It's not where I thought you were going to go with that, but that's
No.
interesting. Yeah.
you could. But I'm saying it's possible. So you have that dream, you have that thought,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're done with Bootcut. How long was it before you start writing more songs?
It was
for
right
Bahamas?
away. Right away. Like I was so energized from that experience that I wanted to just start recording right away. So I phoned Josh and we booked time like pretty quickly. And I had some material that I had tried in Nashville. It didn't really work with that band. But we could, that gave us something to start with. But right away when I started working with Josh at his studio, like I just, I really enjoyed it and felt inspired. So I would go home and try and write something that night. And then we try it the next day in the studio, So So, yeah, I don't know. It was a very, I don't even think I told my manager that I was recording. Like I just did it, and I think because I already had an album in the can with Bootcut, it created a lot of space, a lot of freedom for me to just be like, let's try stuff. Let's throw stuff at the wall.
And you couldn't really tour it.
No.
One thing is COVID, but two, the players who are on it. You'd have to assemble an entirely new band.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've had the same band on the road for quite a while, and Josh is a part of it now. But I mean, I've been so fortunate to be surrounded by great musicians all the time. I mean, yes, the Nashville players are amazing, but the people that I go on the road with are equally as amazing. Like,
and the people on the East Coast, there's so many great, talented players on the East Coast of Canada.
That's
kind of landlocked in a sense.
Yeah, well, it's true. I was just telling Steven on the drive over, like, there's no scene. Like, there's no main hub that the musicians are kind of revolving around, but there's like a great keyboard player in Mahone Bay, and there's an incredible bass player in Wolfville. And like all of the players are there. If you want to put something together, you can really make it happen, That being said, I do kind of miss the energy that a big city like Toronto has, just because like on any random Tuesday night, there could just be the most incredible thing happening like down the street at some, coffee shop or some just like hole in the wall bar could have like the heaviest players just working on something. And, to think that you could be a part of that by accident, those are such exciting moments.
But that's probably what makes it easier for you to be out on the road in a sense, because that exploration is so different where you are going to pop into that coffee shop in Tribeca or something like that. And it's like, what did I experience here? This is good. Go back home, reset, get the kids out doing some athletics in the yard, probably burpees. Is it intense?
I like burpees a lot, actually. I was like, my older girls were doing burpees before bed, and the pang of pride that I felt in my chest watching them go up and down, up and down, up and down. It was amazing. But no, they like surfing and playing tennis, and
they like wetsuits.
Yeah, they actually do like wet. Well, one of them does. One of them likes wetsuits. But yeah, I don't know. It's I really feel spoiled, right? I get to travel around, go to these amazing places, play music, and then I get to have my cake and eat it too by being in one of the greatest places in the world. I think is Nova Scotia. It's just epic beauty all around and very easily accessible. So yeah, I feel fortunate to be in the position I'm in now.
There are some bands that will take 12 songs into a studio. There are some bands that will take 20 songs into a studio and pare it down to an album that is only 12. What did you do for my second last album?
I think there's maybe one or two tunes that didn't make it on. Actually, there's this one song that is about like a drunk driver who kills a kid and ends up moving up north. And I kind of wish it was on the record, but like Robbie put the kibosh on it. He just wasn't into it. But well, maybe that'll come out at some point. We'll see.
Is that a sequencing thing? It's like, this just doesn't
I think
fit.
It's just like there's one lyric in the song where like the song is just grooving and you're kind of into it. And then the lyric kind of happens. You're like, whoa. You know what I mean? It just sort of like takes you right out of the song, which he wasn't wrong. Like, it's true. It kind of like, goes dark very quickly. And that's on me as the writer or whatever. I should have, polished that section up a little bit more. But all that to say is I think most of the tunes that I recorded kind of ended up on this album. And yeah, like I said, there's some of the songs I kind of wrote before I recorded Bootcut, and we tried maybe two or three of them with the band in Nashville. Just wasn't the right fit. Sometimes the song and the player, it just doesn't come together. I've certainly worked on tunes and had to record them 3, 4, 5 times before I hit, the definitive version, as they say.
What is your step then with that? Because I think there's a lot of people, they call it, they're in the pocket and they're writing a song and they've got these lyrics and they think it's all awesome. And they go back and listen to it the next day and they go, were we on drugs last night? Because this song this morning sounds nothing like what I went to bed with.
That happens all the time. Usually, in my experience, like whatever you cut on day one, you often have to recut that on the last day. Because there's so much nervous energy and people are getting their headphones dialed in and maybe they're trying to figure out, they brought 6 guitars and they haven't, usually you just end up finding one thing that works and you kind of use that for the whole thing. But it always takes a minute to figure that out. And then by day 2, everyone's settled in. They know where the bathroom is. They know where the coffee maker is. They kind of know what the routine's going to be like.
It's a lot like being on tour.
Yeah, everything just becomes more relaxed. The playing is more relaxed. There's way less sort of like look at me type behavior. Everyone's just like playing and hanging and listening. The main thing is just listening. And so yeah, I often find like the tracks that you do on day 1, they might be, maybe you record them too fast, or there's just too much. You're too raring out the gate. Sometimes you get lucky and you get something really special. But I often find you have to take those tracks and sort of tack them onto the end and get them done.
Those first tracks when you go into the studio, are those your favorite tracks to begin with? Like, this is my number 1 song. I really like this. And you go record it, things have changed.
It always changes. It always, like, the track that you think is going to be a for sure banger, like this is a home run. Very rarely is it just like easy, And then the ones that you just like, you just kind of wrote it and it was a bit of a toss off, and and then suddenly you hear it back and you're like, wow, this is something so special, I hate to like toot my own horn, but I had that experience with Lost in the Light. Like when I wrote that song, it just came so quickly. And even when we recorded it, like I recorded it with Jason, my drummer at the time, and Felicity and Carly. We did it live in the room. I didn't even think to call a bass player. I was like, I just kind of have this riff. It's like, I didn't even feel like it was like much of a song. But then when it came together, it really was something special when we were hearing it back, And there's probably something there just by not putting the pressure on it. You can allow it to bloom, allow it to flourish. And I'm sure there's more eloquent metaphors that we could use or whatever. But I think about that even with my kids. Like, am I going to be like Tiger Woods' dad and just like make you play golf like every single day of your life? Or are you just going to try and expose them to all this different rad stuff, and then hopefully they find something that they're passionate? Maybe it's volleyball, and then you and they can connect on volleyball because I know your passion runs so deep. You know what I mean? It's like my mom never put any pressure on me, and I think the downside of that is that when I was in school, I had nobody with any expectations, and I had shit grades, and like I was a loser. I was a failure. And I don't want to blame her, but the reality is like there was no expectation that I perform at any level at all. So I didn't. And I'm thankful that I found music. And then as soon as I found it, I was like, oh, I actually like this thing. I actually like this thing when no one's looking. When everyone else gets bored and they go back to playing Sega Genesis or whatever, I actually stayed with the guitar and like practiced and okay, I think I could write my own song. Okay. You know what I mean? Like the discovery that I could do this thing, it just obviously has become my whole life, So it's, a lot of people aren't so lucky. And so really that's the thing I'm most grateful for, is just like, I actually accidentally found this thing called music.
Or maybe music found you.
Yeah. Well, however you want to think about it. But I just mean, it's like, it was somewhat of an accident. You know what I mean? Like I played basketball because all my friends were into basketball. And then they got into snowboarding. So we got into snowboarding, And then some of them got guitars, and we would like sit around and play guitar. And then when they all moved on to the next thing,
you kept playing.
I just kept playing with the guitar. I just thought, I like this one. I'm going to keep doing that.
And then a year later, they checked back in on you, and all of a sudden, you're compared to them a virtuoso.
Well, yeah, I don't know if virtuoso, but I could certainly like hold my own doing like a Nirvana cover or something like that.
But it changes impressions of you. What people think of you, who you are. I mean, you might be someone who. There's a lot of kids out there who they don't have that social group to hang around with. They end up finding music, and then they come out of the house with, a couple of years of playing music, and suddenly there's a whole new group of people that want to work with you and hang with you and write.
Actually, I mean, more and more lately, I just really appreciate athletics for this reason. Like, I mean, beyond all the obvious things, like it's good for you and it's fun. I think like it's hard to feel comfortable in your own body. And it's cool to see like young people like doing athletic pursuits, joining a team. Like it kind of, you get an identity, right? You're like, I'm on the team. I'm on the basketball team. I'm a basketball player.
Immediate gang.
Yeah. And it comes with a uniform and it comes with a schedule and it comes with like stuff that you need to practice. You need
There's
to get
expectations.
You got to get layups. You got to get your layups in order. Is your left-handed layup as good as your right? Okay, we got to work on that. Okay, now you got to do your free throws. Like, it's cool that there's a system, and maybe it's a little more accessible to plug into a system like that than it is something like art or music, which is just such a, at some point you are going to have to like figure out what you're doing on your own. And that is a really difficult process. And it's also really rewarding, but it you know, you have to sort of develop that. And then I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it's a challenge to kind of like get into stuff, you know? And I'm just lucky that I found music. I just feel like it was kind of an accident or something. And if I somehow like wasn't there on that day when Joe Facciolo brought home the Fender Stratocaster and I like missed out on that window, like I probably would have been doing something else and I maybe would have a, you know, drug problem, or I'd be, I don't know. I could just picture like a lot of the guys I grew up with, their lives went in very different directions.
Sure.
You know? So I don't want to say like music saved me or whatever, but it just became something that I could pour all my energy into.
Bahamas, the new album is called My Second Last Album. Tour dates through Europe, a solo tour.
Mm-hmm.
Is it easier taking your stuff solo today than being with the band, or?
It's certainly easier from a standpoint of having to negotiate the logistics of moving, you know, 10 people around or whatever. If some people are hungry, some people want to use the Wi-Fi or whatever. It's like,
but are you just as comfortable because you don't have the support of the rest of the band behind you?
I love it. I mean, I love playing with the band, and I really deeply respect all those musicians, and I'm just so grateful for everything they've poured into my music over the years. But yeah, playing solo is like, I love the pressure of the whole thing being on me, you know? And the show is much more flexible because I can respond to the audience and in real time. And I don't want to say take requests. I don't want to like open the door to that, but I'm much more amenable to things like that because it's like, yeah, sure. I haven't done that song in 10 years or whatever. It's kind of fun. It's like challenging to just like sit there and figure out how to do it by myself.
I was going to say a little more vulnerable because you don't have the support of the band behind you.
Yeah. And if you can't tell already, I generally talk too much, and that can be pretty entertaining for people because I paint myself into some really, you know, deep and dark corners, and then I have to do a bit of a lyrical backflip to get out of there. So
your
that could
Instagram
be kind of fun.
Is so good.
Ah, thanks, buddy.
You crush it. I send it out to people all the time. I'm like, look, this guy knows what to do because I think you're willing to humiliate or just maybe just recognize that it's not so humiliating once you get over yourself.
I think it's just another vehicle for making things, and the things that seem to come the most naturally to me are more comedic things. Like I've tried to do...
Your fitness ones are great.
Well, I appreciate that. But yeah, the musical things, I haven't really figured out how to do that consistently. Like just really quality, immersive musical experiences on Instagram. I haven't really cracked the code on that. But like I said earlier, I take the songwriting very seriously, making the albums. Everything after that, it's like, let's just have fun. This is just another vehicle for making art. And the thing that works good for me is, you know, just being lighthearted about the whole thing.
There hasn't been an announcement yet. When will there be tour dates in North America to support My Second Last Album?
I think it'll be very soon. We're working on that now. It's very difficult. As you know, there's a few other players that have been announcing albums in the last couple of weeks, and they have a monopoly on the tour buses and, you know, the bottled water and everything. So once we get over that, then we can probably announce some shows. But yeah, we'll be on tour in 2026 and aiming to come to a city near you.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Now forget everything that you thought you knew from the shadow.